Hi, everyone. Welcome to our online information session, the Culinary Institute of America, presenting information about campus life at our main campus in Hyde Park, New York. My name is Michelle Malooly. I'm the Director of Admissions, and I will be your host for today. I'll be joined by a very special guest. We will do a presentation about living on campus and everything that goes along with it. And at the end, we will answer questions that students have regarding living on campus and participating in campus life. As the leaders in the culinary industry and the world's premier culinary college, we cannot wait to host you on campus again. So we are so glad that you were able to join us online and get this information to you. We are committed to giving you all the info that you want to know about campus and maybe even some surprises that you didn't know. But we're thrilled that you were able to join us online today. So thank you so much. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my very special guest, Dr. J.J. Manley. He is the Assistant Dean of Campus Life and Student Development, Associate Dean, of Campus Life and Student Development. He's known on campus simply as Dr. J.J. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you and have a warm virtual round of applause for Dr. J.J. Woo!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this presentation about campus life here at the CAA. I'm very excited to be talking to you today and hopefully share some information with you about what it's like to be a student here and what goes on outside of the classroom when students are going to college here. So let's get started. So, I'm always interested when I talk to students because they're kind of surprised when they come to college here after they've been here for sometimes as little as a week about how much stuff that we have happening on our campus. I'm not sure why, but for some reason, they're always surprised that we have a lot of the same types of activities and events that go on other, maybe more traditional colleges. And they are always excited to see that we do more than just classes in the culinary and baking arts. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that means. So before I do that, though, I want to talk to you a little bit about living on campus. So I strongly encourage you to live on campus. No matter how far away your home is from this college, living on campus is one of the best things that you can do to help give you a great start to a very successful time here at the CIA, as well as when you leave the campus. And there's a number of reasons for that. On the screen, you see 10 reasons why I think students should live on campus. And these are backed up by lots of research, actually. Decades and decades of research has shown that students that live on campus are more successful and have a greater, more positive experience at college when they're living on campus. So one of the first things that you notice there, and this is pretty important, especially for those of you who may be looking to get scholarships, is higher grades. Students who live on campus tend to do better in their academic classes than those who don't. And a lot of that has to do with number 2 and number 3, which is, they're closer to everything, and they're closer to friends, faculty, and staff that can help them with study groups, answering questions, going to the Learning Commons and access to support, which is number 6. The idea that all you have to do is basically walk outside your room, step outside your residence hall, and you're within walking distance of any support that you may need to help you with your classes, whether they kitchen classes, baking classes, or academic classes. And so right off the bat, you're starting off with a great access to everything you need to do well academically here. It's also cheaper than living off campus. I have a number of students that say, but Dr. JJ, if I live off campus, I know I can save some money. But a lot of times they don't realize that they're just looking at the cost of rent, and they're like, well, it's so much cheaper to rent this apartment than to live on campus, but they're always forgetting the add-ons. When you're on campus, everything's included. Internet, cable, free laundry, food, safety, maintenance, housekeeping, you name it, all that's provided. Whereas if you live off campus, you need to pay for those things. You need to pay for electricity, you need to pay for water, you need to pay for internet, garbage removal, you name it. All of those are extra costs, and when you add those all up, it usually ends up being a lot more money than people realize. Our campus is an extremely safe environment, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more because I know for parents and students alike, that is something they always want to know about. You also have an instant community when you live on campus. I mean, if you think about it, if you live in our one of our main freshman first-year student residence halls, you step outside your door and there's 400 people living there. ready to connect with you, willing to do stuff, go to activities, have fun, make great memories. There's a lot of leadership opportunities when you live on campus as well. You can be a resident assistant or an RA, who are student leaders that live in the residence halls. You can be an orientation leader, welcome team, join our clubs or student government association. All of these things are amazing opportunities when you live on campus. Networking is another great reason to live on campus. Living with the same people that you're going to class with just helps you make great connections that are going to actually help you later on down the road. Because in this field that you guys are in, you know, it's who you know. The people that you meet today may be the people that you work with after you graduate, maybe people that you start a business with. And knowing those connections, as well as connecting with the alumni that come to campus, are all amazing opportunities. And all of this comes down to generating amazing memories. If you talk to your parents about when they went to college, and if they lived on campus, I'll bet they'll share with you that some of their greatest memories have to do with living in the residence halls and going to programs and things like that. Now, some of you may choose, for a number of reasons, to move off campus, to live off campus. And I want you to know that that won't prevent you from doing things on campus. All of our activities are open to all of our students. It just makes it a little bit easier if you live on campus. You don't have to worry about driving home late at night after a program or having to come back to campus when you've gone home after classes. Everything's right here within walking distance. So strongly encourage you to think about living on campus when you're coming to the college here at the CIA. So campus life is made up of a number of different aspects. There's student activities, student government and clubs, residence life, athletic intramurals and wellness programming, and then of course orientation. We have so many things going on in this campus that there's never a dull day. As long as you leave your room, I can promise you you're going to find something to do and people to hang out with, and a lot of fun activities to give you a break from the classes. So these are some photos of some of the things we have on our campus. You'll notice we have two of our athletics up there, cross country and volleyball. We also have basketball and tennis and soccer. And all of these sports are varsity sports. It means we travel to other colleges and we compete with them. A lot of students don't realize about that. Our groups are varsity level sports. We practice 9 o'clock at night throughout the week, and then we have our games on the weekends, and that's because of our class schedules. You'll also notice on there, one of the things up there on the far right of your screen, you'll see a bunch of students sitting around a table making peanut butter and jam sandwiches. Every year we have this wonderful event where we get together in our student dining area called The Egg, and we make 3,500 peanut butter and jam sandwiches to give to the local food shelters. And we always have a lot of fun doing that. We do a lot of outdoor activities. We go whitewater rafting, trips to New York City. We have cook-offs like the chili cook-off, the pizza cook-off. We have a baking competition in December, dances, movies in the Marriott Theater, you name it. There is so much stuff going on in this campus that it's hard to explain it all. And to give you just a little bit of an example of what that looks like, here is the calendar from January. So if you'll notice on there, almost every day is filled in with some sort of activity. And at the end of the month, you'll notice there's a couple days where there's nothing scheduled. And that is only because when we went to publication for this calendar, we just didn't know exactly what was going to happen on those days. But I can guarantee you that those days were filled with something as we got later on in the month. Because every single day are opportunities to get out there, have fun, try something new, make new friends, take advantage of meeting people on campus that are going to open up doors to other opportunities for you that you may not even know exist. But all of those things require you to do one thing, and that is you've got to get out of your room. And so everything we do here is to encourage you to get outside of your room and get outside your comfort zone and get out there and have some fun and give it your best. So that is about every month on our campus looks something like that. Now, campus safety is a very important thing. When people go to school, students want to know it's safe, parents want to know it's safe. So let me tell you a little bit about safety here at the CIA. So first of all, we have campus safety officers on 24/7. Every day of the year, doesn't matter if it's holidays, if it's intersession, It doesn't matter, they're always here. During that time, they're doing foot and vehicle patrols. They're walking through the residence halls. In the nice weather, you may even see some doing some bike patrols. Our residence halls where our students live are locked 24/7. And you can only get in there with your student ID. So if you are not a student living on campus, you can't get into the residence halls. What that means for commuter students is that if they want to attend a program in the residence halls, which they are more than welcome to join, they just have to ask one of their classmates who lives on campus to let them into the building. We also have cameras throughout campus in the main buildings, in the residence halls, parking lots, all over to help just keep an eye on things, make sure people are safe. And then we also have this thing called the blue light phone system, which years ago used to be pretty popular at all the colleges, and a number of schools started to get rid of them because they're like, students have cell phones now, they don't need this. But we decided to keep our blue light phone system because it was just an added sense of security, an added layer to help students feel safe and that they can get access to assistance whenever they need it. Basically, a blue light phone is a telephone pole throughout campus with this blue flashing light on it that has a telephone that attaches and connects directly to safety. So if a student needs any assistance or at all they have to do is push a button and automatically gets them in touch with campus safety officer and also dispatches someone to their location right away to help them out. The other thing that we do is for the last couple of years, we've taken part in the Everbridge system. So this is a system that once you come to campus, we will ask you to go on and activate it. It is a mass messaging system that allows us to get messages sent out to students' cell phones via text, as well as emails about any type of emergency that may happen on campus. A lot of times that is because we use it for school closings due to weather. A couple of years ago, there was a tornado watch. Fortunately, we did not experience a tornado, but there was a tornado watch, and it let everybody know about it and gave us an opportunity to shelter in place just to make sure that everything was okay. Finally, you should know that we have a campus safety officers at our front gate going from 9:30 p.m. until 5 a.m. every day, 7 days a week. And that means that if you come onto campus after 9:30 at night, you will have to show ID to make sure that we know that you live here and that you belong here. People who try to get onto campus at that time who do not have a student ID have to show us why they're coming to campus, whether they're a guest going to a residence, or if they're here to visit a student. We have to verify that with a student to make sure that they're supposed to be on campus. And then finally, the residence life staff, the RAs who are student leaders, and our professional staff of hall directors and area coordinators are here 24/7, and they're on call every night, every weekend, so that if you need anything, all you gotta do is call them and they can help you from everything from being locked out to your room to just needing someone to talk to maybe you're not feeling well and you want somebody to help you get to the local doctor's office. Orientation. So orientation is a great thing on our campus. It's one of the best parts of my job. We have an overnight interactive event called Green and Gold Weekends that we have been doing for several years now. And what it does is it allows you as a student to come to campus and meet some of our older students who are the orientation leaders and take part in some fun activities, as well as getting some of the business aspects of coming to college ready, such as getting measured for your chef whites, getting your parking permits, your student IDs. And so you'll see we have 1 of 3 weekends you can choose from: June 21st to 22nd, June 27th to the 28th, and July 10th to July 11th. Now, basically what happens is parents and families, you're going to come, you're going to drop the student off so they're here before 2 o'clock on the first day, and then they will leave at 4 p.m. on the second day. They'll spend the night in the residence halls. They're going to meet their fellow classmates, connect with student leaders, and really just get an idea of what it's like to live in one of our residence halls. So they're a lot of fun. I strongly encourage you that if you can do one of these 3 weekends, that you do so, because everybody who has gone through and taken part in the Green Gold Weekends has really enjoyed it. In fact, our orientation leaders every year tend to be students who went through as students when they were first coming to the CIA and loved it so much that they wanted to pay it forward and be an orientation leader for the new generation of students, so to speak. Now, living on campus, as we have gone over before, living on campus is probably one of the most important things that you can do. And I want to let you know that as of April 8th, our housing applications will be available online through the Accepted Student Portal. Now, before you can fill out your housing application, you will have to pay the tuition deposit. But once you have done that, you will have access to the housing application and you can fill it out. We're going to ask you some questions so we can help you find a roommate. We're going to ask you where you prefer to live. Most of our freshmen live in Hudson Hall, which is our freshman residence hall, and it is a great residence hall filled with an amazing community and really helps students with that transition from being at home to now being here at the Culinary Institute of America. You will have until July 13th to make any changes to your housing application, and you may be wondering, why would I change my housing application? Well, if you come to Green and Gold, for instance, and you meet someone there that you just connect with and you hit it off and you're like, you know what, you and I should be roommates, you can go in and you can change your housing application and request that you be roommates in the fall. After July 13th, we will lock all the applications for fall 2020, and we will begin the process of doing room assignments. So then room assignments will be sent out to all students starting in the fall by August 8th, 2020. And then what happens? So when you get your email with your housing assignment, we're also going to give you a move-in time, because we have a process here of moving students into campus and into their rooms that I have been told by parents. So this is something I have been told over and over again over the last 8 years, is that our move-in system is one of the best that parents have ever seen. And that is because we have it arranged so that when you show up to campus, you basically will drive to your residence hall, and before you know it, your car will be completely unpacked, because I have a volunteer team made up of hundreds of students, faculty, and staff whose only job is to unpack your car, bring everything up to your room for you so you don't have to worry about moving a thing. Makes things very easy, a little less stressful on a day that tends to be very, very busy and very exciting for new students and their families. And so that's why we have move-in times, so we can space you out so that we can get everyone in a timely manner. At the same time, when you get that move-in assignment, you will also be given a bunch of information about the move-in process and things that you can do to help you move in more easily. If you come to Green and Gold, parents, I will have a session with you specifically focusing on what needs to be done to get in ready for the move-in process. And if you are not able to come to Green and Gold, we'll mail everything to you via email that will also share all that information with you. Last thing I want to let parents know is that we, this past fall, started with the help of some parents of some of the students that started in the fall. There was a Facebook page created for parents, and it's called the CIA New York Parent a la carte. I strongly encourage you to join this page on Facebook. You are going to have to show proof that your student attends college at the CIA. That's one of the safety features that we have put in place. But basically, it's an amazing resource and a great support group for parents and family members of students going here. We'll also have a lot of information put on there by administrators and staff at the college. I, for instance, am part of that group, and I am on there a lot to try to answer questions, provide information to parents, as well as just being part of that great community that we have. And so the parents from last fall would love to welcome all of you to join this resource and become part of our CIA Facebook family. Now, are there any questions?
Thanks, JJ. I have a bunch of questions. I want to go over some just important dates that you mentioned. The Green and Gold Orientation Weekend, that is for all students who are entering this fall, entering this September of 2020. And just to remind everyone, those dates are June 21st and 22nd, June 27th and 28th, and July 10th and 11th. And students can sign up for one of those weekends on their student portal, on their accepted student portal. If you are an accepted student, make sure you are in that portal, because that's where we share a lot of information with you about your upcoming enrollment. Those Green and Gold orientations are, we understand not everyone may be able to attend. So if you're not able to attend, please let us know, because this way we can plan accordingly if we know that you're not able to attend a scheduled weekend. But we strongly suggest that you do, as JJ mentioned, because it is so much fun, and it is so helpful for you starting your path at CIA. I also want to just remind everybody, as JJ said, the housing application will be available on April 8th. It's available on your accepted student portal, but you do need to have submitted your $300 tuition deposit in order to fill out your housing application. So if you haven't done that, go ahead online to your accepted student portal and submit your $300 deposit. JJ, we have some questions about more about the housing on campus, our residence halls. Can you talk through the types of different residence halls that we have, the configurations of how many students in a room, and what is typical for most first-year freshmen?
Sure. So we do have a number of housing options on campus, and the longer that you are here at the CIA, the more opportunity you can have to experience those different options. Most of our first-year students will live in Hudson Hall. Hudson Hall is your typical residence hall that you will find at almost any college in the country. It's corridor-style living, which means that it is every floor are these corridors that are lined with double rooms, meaning that 2 students live in each room. And those rooms have your standard bed, desk, dresser, wardrobe, and or closet per student. And everyone on those floors shares a community bathroom. So there's a male and a female bathroom on every floor that the students share when they're going to college here. Now, after most students get into their second year here, or for many students that's post-extern, they will have the opportunity to move into either Angel, Rosenthal, or Pick, which are also corridor-style living, except the difference here is that those double occupancy rooms also have their own bathroom. And so that is a nice little perk for when you come back or you start your second year here. As a sophomore, second year student, you also can live in the lodges. The lodges is our suite style living. And that is students in groups of 4 to 6 students share a suite together, which means there are usually between 2 to 4 bedrooms sharing a bathroom together. And those are in all of our lodges. And then we have our townhouses. Now, our townhouses tend to be filled by our juniors and seniors. They are, each townhouse is 3 floors that have 8 single bedrooms in them total. And those 8 students have a full kitchen, a dining room, a living room, and built-in laundry, as well as 1 shower and 1 bathroom on every single floor. So those are very popular. Mostly tend to be our upper class students who get those. So the longer you're here, the more living options that you have.
AJ, you mentioned laundry, and that's often a common question for students. Can you talk about where they can access laundry and what the process is for that? And are there any fees associated with doing laundry?
So here at the CIA, laundry is important. When you are in your kitchen classes, it is expected that your chef whites are white and cleaned, and that you present yourself in a professional way. So being able to do laundry is very important, which is why every single one of our residence halls has a large laundry room with multiple washing machines and multiple dryers available to students, and those are available 24/7. Free of charge. That's right. It does not cost you anything to do laundry here. So you can do laundry every single day if you wanted to. The only thing you have to provide is the laundry detergent. And then if you live in the lodges, there's also laundry rooms in every single one of the lodges. And then the townhouses, those 8 students, each townhouse has a laundry room with a washer and dryer that is shared among the 8 students that live there as well.
Yes, we always joke that it's very important that students learn how to do laundry before coming to the CIA to make sure that they look sharp, and they always do. Getting back to the residence halls, something that our students often ask about is do they have kitchens? And I know that those are such an integral part of campus life. Can you talk about the kitchen facilities in our residence halls?
Yes, when you come to the Culinary Institute of America, obviously your classrooms, a number of them are going to be in kitchens or bake shops. And it also makes sense that a lot of our students who come here like to cook or like to bake. And so in every one of our residence halls and lodges and townhouses, we have full kitchens. And they are very popular among the students, especially on the weekends. You'll see a lot of students in there doing family meal together, cooking themselves something that they want to try out that they learned in class, or just making maybe a favorite dish from home because they're missing home and they want to have a little bit of home, and maybe to even share with their friends. So those are also available to students throughout the week and the weekend. All we ask is that you have to provide your own pots and pans and things like that, and you have to clean up after yourself. As long as you respect the kitchens, then those kitchens are available to you to use whenever you want them.
For the residence hall rooms, JJ, can you tell everyone what is included in those rooms in terms of furniture? Some students wonder if there's certain furniture or appliances that they need to bring. Can you let everyone know what is included in a residence hall room?
Sure. So our residence halls, for each student, there is an extra long twin bed. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're getting bedding for your room, you want extra long twin. And then there's a desk and a desk chair for each student, as well as a dresser. And then some rooms either have a wardrobe for each student or a built-in closet for each student. As far as things to bring, storage containers that can fit underneath your bed are very popular and recommended because the rooms are big. I've had a number of students and staff who have seen our rooms say that they're a lot bigger than the rooms they've seen at other colleges, and they are. But you do have to keep in mind they're probably still not as big as maybe your own room, and you are sharing that room with someone else. So you do not want to bring everything that you own because you're probably not going to have space for it. One thing you don't have to bring is you don't have to bring a fridge or a microwave because we provide a micro fridge unit in every single room. This is a combination microwave and refrigerator that students get to have and use their entire time that they're here free of charge, and it is, like I said, in their room. Other things you want to bring is you can bring stuff to put on the walls. We do ask that you don't hang anything permanently on the walls, so you want to use command strips. Those are very, very important. They don't damage the walls and allow you to put things up to help make the room feel a little more like home. You don't want to bring extra furniture. We're very guarded, I guess you would say, about a fire on our campus. And so we take fire safety extremely seriously. And a lot of furniture that students want to bring to campus usually doesn't meet our fire codes. So you don't want to bring extra furniture. You usually don't have a lot of extra room for furniture as well. So what I always suggest is when you come to campus, you bring enough stuff to last you, what you need for the first couple of weeks, and see what you and your roommate have together. Get the room set up, and then as you're here, you may start to realize, oh, here's something that we could use, or here's something that I like to have that I didn't bring before. You can always bring a little bit extra after you've been here. But if you bring too much at first, and then we help unload your vehicle, and then you get up to your room and realize this doesn't all fit, then your family members have to bring it all back home. So I strongly encourage you to go light on your packing for the first trip out here, and then add more to it as you need to as the year progresses.
What other amenities can students expect from our residence halls? We often have questions about Wi-Fi or connectivity, air conditioning. What are in addition to the free laundry and also the kitchen facilities, what other amenities can students look forward to in their residence halls?
So all of our residence halls have Wi-Fi accessibility throughout the entire building. We also have computers for those students who maybe don't have or don't want to bring their own computer. We actually have computers available in each residence hall lounge that students can use. And we also have a common area or a lounge that students can utilize with a large screen TV. A lot of students like to use those, especially on the weekends, to just kind of hang out, maybe watch their favorite movie together, hook up their video game systems, and play their video games together. We also have housekeeping on campus that helps keep our common areas clean. And we also have a student rec center that has an amazing cardio fitness room, as well as a strength training fitness room, and a competitive full-size pool that students can use, along with a gym and basketball courts, racquetball courts, and an indoor track. All of those are free for our students to use 7 days a week.
JJ, we've been talking about cooking in the residence halls, but I want to remind everybody that students at CIA have the best meal plan on the planet. We will have a full online session about meal plans and dining at CIA, so you'll be able to check that out in a lot of detail. But there are so many options for our students, and there's different packages that they can purchase based on their individual preferences. So I just wanted to mention that to everybody. And also getting back to, because we had talked about laundry, we talked about the importance of being professional on campus. We have some questions about dress code. What is our dress code, and when and where do students need to be in dress code? Can you talk about that?
Sure. So dress code is extremely important here. And there are certain places where you have to be in dress code. So Roth Hall is one of the main places. Anytime you're going into Roth Hall, which is where the vast majority of your classes are held, it's also where you probably will eat a number of your meals, because a lot of our production kitchens are in there. And so therefore students can have their meals at those production kitchens. But anytime you go into Roth Hall, you have to be in dress code. So that means you have to be in your chef whites, or you have to be in business professional. McCann Hall is another place that you have to be in dress code. That's an academic building on campus, and therefore must be in dress code anytime you go into those buildings. Now, when you're in the residence halls, when you're in the student rec center, or the gym, the library, or just walking around campus, if you do not have class, you don't have to be in dress code. This is your home. So when you're not going to class, we want you to feel comfortable and be able to dress how you wish, just like if you were hanging out at home. And so anytime you come into the buildings that are not an academic building, you do not have to be in dress code.
Awesome. JJ, you touched on our fitness and athletic facilities that we have, which are so awesome for our students to take part in. But many people don't know is that we also have a really robust athletic program where students can both compete in intercollegiate sports as well as intramural sports. Can you tell us a little bit more about those programs?
Sure. So we have a number of varsity sports. So we have basketball, soccer, cross country, tennis, and volleyball. All of our sports, except for volleyball, are co-ed. We don't have in our conference a number of all-female sports, so women are allowed to join and try out for any of our sports, and we have had women on our basketball teams and our soccer teams. Of course, cross country is co-ed. Anyone can join cross country. Our tennis team, which is a co-ed tennis team, for the last number of years, our number one players have been our female students. And in fact, we are looking into the possibility of starting an all-female tennis club because there's just such strong interest among our female students to take part in tennis. If you don't want to, take part in the rigor of athletics in a varsity level, which requires several practices throughout the week, traveling for games on the weekends, you can do intramurals. Intramurals is a great way to have some fun and still stay physically fit. And we do things like 3-on-3 basketball, we do volleyball tournaments, badminton, dodgeball, outdoor kickball games, and ultimate frisbee. We even have a intramural faculty, staff, students softball league that we do every summer, which is a lot of fun. So there's always something to do to help get yourself out there. And I strongly encourage you to do so, even if you're not someone who maybe doesn't think of themselves as a sports type person. Intramurals can be a lot of fun, a great way to meet people and make some great memories. In
addition, we have bevy of clubs that our students can participate in based on different interests. I know some both food related and non-food related. Can you talk about some of the popular clubs that we have on campus and how students can get involved with them?
Yeah, so we do have a number of clubs on our campus. At any given time, we probably have between 35 and 40 active clubs out of about 70. And the reason that is because as students leave to go on externships, sometimes clubs will take a hiatus because their club officers or their memberships are out on externship or doing their concentration semester away. And then they come back and they restart the club again. Anybody can go to any club. They're open to all students on our campus. And you can even go to the club activities if you're not a member. So a lot of times clubs will do events and activities that are open to anyone, regardless if they're a member of the club. A lot of our clubs are food or oriented. For instance, we have Global Spoons, which is a club dealing with, international cuisine. We have the Bacchus Wine Society. We have the clubs. The Tea Club is another very popular club, but we have a lot of clubs that have nothing to do with food. For instance, we have Culinary Christian Fellowship. We have the Jewish Student Union. We have a club called the Tabletop Gaming Club, which is very popular on our campus. A lot of our students who like to play tabletop games. And then we have a couple years ago, we had a club, for instance, we had a student who didn't see anything they were interested in, so they wanted to start a club. Starting a club here is very easy. Basically, you just have to have an interest meeting and see if you can get some students to show up that are interested in what you are. And I can tell you that there's probably always students who are interested in something if you're interested in it. They're just waiting for someone to start a club. So a couple years ago, we had a student who wanted to start a club and came to see me about it. And they're like, I really like to knit, and I love to start a knitting club, but I don't know if anyone will show up. And I said, why don't you just have an interest meeting and find out? So she had her interest meeting, and she had at least 30 students, I believe, show up for that interest meeting. And afterwards, when they became an official club, she had between 30 and 40 students that showed up to almost every one of their meetings because there was a lot of students on campus who like to knit. And so you can always start your own club if you don't find one that interests you on campus.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities for students to take on leadership roles within clubs. We also have a student-run newspaper. We have our student government. We have another group called SPICE that organizes and plans student programming on campus. But in addition, I always tell people that going to school at CIA is also like being on a cruise ship where you have professionally planned trips and events that can go on. So tell us about some of the student trips that students can take and about the big events that we host on campus.
Sure. So we host a number of trips throughout the year. We do trips down to New York City that are just basically, it's a bus trip. A lot of students like to take advantage of that. They take the bus down that we provide to the city, and they get to spend the day in the city doing whatever they want. We also do trips down to the city that have a very specific destination. So, for instance, we bring students to see Broadway shows. Last year, a couple months ago, actually, we went and saw Aladdin. We've seen Wicked. We've seen the Book of Mormon. We saw The Lion King. And these are all trips provided to students at a fraction of the cost that it would cost them if they went on their own. We do whitewater rafting. Like I said, this is something we've been doing for years. I've been the chaperone of the whitewater rafting trip for the last 5 years. It's very, very exciting. And that only costs students $25. And they get to go 4 hours of whitewater rafting, transportation to and from the location in Pennsylvania on the Lehigh River, and lunch and dinner. I mean, you can't beat that. We do trips to see sporting events like the Knicks. We'll do ski trips and snowboarding trips. We'll do trips to go hiking, rock climbing. We go to the local bounce trampoline sports place. We actually did a trip to Washington, D.C. earlier in the fall where we brought students to see the National African American Cultural Museum, which was a lot of fun and really interesting for all the students who went. So there's always something going on, and there's always trips. All of these trips students can purchase tickets through the Student Recreation Center front desk. And we always send out emails and Instagram and posts, as well as putting large posters in our lobby and on the bulletin boards in the residence halls of any trip that's coming up.
Students often wonder, JJ, does it cost money to participate in activities? And I think you touched on it that, of course, some trips, do have a price, but of course it is way reduced compared to what they would spend, as being, just as a tourist, taking a public trip, but that so many of these activities are all included in your tuition and fees. So there's not a lot of money to shell out of pocket. So I think that's something that's really important, and we often can get great deals for our students and even get some, VIP or behind the scenes access at a lot of these places.
Most of our on-campus activities have no cost to them whatsoever. Sometimes, like for instance, we do a late night breakfast program 3 times a year where students can go into Farquharson Hall on a Sunday night. It's the one time, the one event where they don't have to be in dress code, which students actually really like. And they get to come and they get to have a full breakfast. And what we do is we ask them to make a $2 donation because it's we use that money for local charities. And so other than that, all the other events on campus, there is no cost for. And like you said, the only cost are when we do trips, and it's really, we share the bare minimum. The college subsidizes most of those trips so that students can have a great time without having to spend a lot of money.
And those late night breakfasts, JJ, who prepares those late night breakfasts? Anyone we know?
Late night breakfasts is something I started years ago, and I have student volunteers. So I'm always doing events on and off campus where students volunteer to help me prepare food. We do some charity events off campus where we're donating our time for nonprofit organizations, as well as doing some things like late night breakfast on campus. We have a lot of fun. We listen to a lot of loud music while we're preparing the food and take some crazy pictures. And at the end, everyone's enjoying some great food, and they've had a lot of fun doing that as well. So when you get to campus, that's something you can do. You just have to reach out to me and say, hey, Dr. JJ, I want to be one of your volunteers, and I will keep you in mind for when I do any of those events.
For definitely, they can join your brigade of volunteers that you guys have so much fun. I know I just want to touch on some other of our signature events or favorite events of our students. You mentioned the cook-offs. We have the chili cook-off, the pizza bake-off where our students can win big either prizes or cash prizes or even scholarships. So those are always a big favorite. Our movie nights in our Marriott Pavilion Theater where our students can go in and enjoy movies, our trivia nights, karaoke, and one of our signature things that is so popular on campus is our Bada Bingo night, where it's unlike anything you've ever seen. Our students are lined up out the door, ready to play bingo. It's the hottest ticket on campus that our students love. So there's so much to enjoy on campus. The last
karaoke is also a big one. Our students love karaoke. We do karaoke once a month, and we fill the egg with between 300 and 400 students every single time who either love to perform or who love to watch students perform. But it's a huge event on our campus, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon.
If you haven't been to our campus, the Egg is a large dining facility that's part of our student commons, and it's a great place for our students to hang out. It's a really modern, casual environment with a lot of great different types of seating. It also has a stage, and it really is like the living room of the campus. That's what JJ is referring to. The last thing I would just want to talk about, JJ, is getting around campus and getting to and from, the local area. We often are asked about how, we are only about maybe 5 or 6 minutes away from the local train station, the Poughkeepsie train station. So I wanted to mention that. But what are some other ways that students can get around campus? Do they need to bring a car? Can they bring a car? What are some transportation mode options?
So students are allowed to bring a car to campus, and there's no fee. You do have to get a parking permit through campus safety. But I always say that you don't really need a car, especially your first year here. And that's because we have a number of other options for students to be able to get around off campus. So every Saturday we have a shuttle bus run where we provide a bus that runs up and down Route 9, which is the main roadway outside of the CIA that goes down to some various shopping plazas with a couple of different grocery stores, a Barnes & Noble, a Staples, our Poughkeepsie Galleria Mall where the movie theater is, as well as a Target. And all along the way, there's a number of restaurants. And so students can pay $2 to ride that shuttle bus, and they can take it up and down as many times as they want during the day on those Saturdays. We also have Zipcar on campus. We have about 5 Zipcars right now. And as long as you're 18 years old and have a driver's license, you can join Zipcar. And because you're a college student here at the CIA, there's a special deal that you get. And I believe it's $8 an hour that it costs you to rent a Zipcar. And that includes gas. You don't have to worry about paying for gas, and you don't have to worry about mileage. So it's a great deal. We also have Ubers and Lyfts in the area, and on the nicer weather, we actually have bikes that campus students can borrow. All they have to do is go to the Student Rec Center and fill out a form, and they can use the bike for the day. They have to bring it back at the end of the day before we shut down for the night, but otherwise they can take it. And a lot of students like to do that because we have a number of bike trails really close to the college that our students like to take advantage of.
Awesome, JJ. Thanks so much. So if you have any questions about anything related to living on campus, you can email us at admissions@culinary.edu. If you have any specific questions for Dr. JJ, just put that in the subject line and we'll be sure to get him those questions and fill his inbox with all of your questions. But I can guarantee once you get on campus, it won't be long before you have a new friend, Dr. JJ, as your friend and mentor on campus. Thanks so much, JJ, and thank you all for joining us today for the CIA's online info session about campus life.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.